What's good, YouTube? It's your boy Sabotage, and the Batman made my balls drop. Hey, yo! So I just got to watch the new Batman movie last week, and I thought it was an absolute banger! And I really just want to talk about it in this video. But, for anyone still hesitant to watch this movie, let me try to sell you on it without spoiling it. First of all, this movie has the best rendition of Gotham I've seen in a Batman film. It feels distinctly different than the other movies, the Christian Bale ones. It's on an even darker scale, and it's not on some goofy shit. We aren't cracking jokes. It doesn't feel like it's made for kids. It's a film for men and women. If you haven't seen it yet, shut your ass up, buy a ticket, and go to the theater, because I promise you, you will not regret it. So there's my pitch. Now I just want to get into spoilies. You have been warned. The feels. The vibes, the aura. These are probably the most important part of making a movie. In Batman, it had this dark and serious tone, which is a real change of pace given that most movies out nowadays are trying way too hard to be funny. And to be humbly honest with you, that shit is not funny, my boy. I'm gonna keep it real. The seriousness makes it feel like shit is actually at stake. We're not just playing around in the sunshine and rainbows. It's night for 90% of this movie, and I like it. The movie knows exactly what it wants to be. It doesn't feel like it's copying other people, I also really fuck with the stylistic choices in this movie, namely the Batsuit and the Batmobile. Both are very low-key, very simple, and it feels like they could actually be here in the real world. Also, Batman doesn't have that weird chin strap thing. I don't know what that is.
The hell is even that?
Also, just like Gotham itself, it's definitely its own character in this movie. It's better than the Gotham we got in Nolan's trilogy just because we get to see more of it. There's more locations we see, and also, there's the whole underground, this whole Falcone thing that's just really cool. In watching Batman run around Gotham, it feels real. None of the tech he uses feels out of this world. I wouldn't be surprised if a billionaire had spy camera lenses, a slightly upgraded military whip, or, just used a grappler. It's not only his tech, but it's also his fighting skills. They seem plausible. He doesn't have 1,000 HP. It seems like punches actually affect and hurt him, which is pretty cool. Also, the way he runs, jumps, and moves feels real, which is how Batman should be. He's just a human, right? And this adds a whole nother layer to the fights because it feels like he can actually lose. So yeah, I love the feel of this movie. It's realistic, gritty, dark, and sexy. Shay! The mystery. Boy, I love me a good mystery. That makes me go, ooh, ah, yeah. Hey, yo! Batman is a smart character. He's a genius. He's the world's greatest detective. And in the Nolan films, we don't get to see that much of Bruce and his intellect. But in this new rendition, we get to really see just how smart this man is. I love the way that he can almost instantly solve the Riddler's riddles, even though the other characters and me are completely lost the entire time. I also really liked how the overall mystery of a Riddler is slowly uncovered and revealed, which makes catching him at the end a lot more satisfying. The film has really good pacing, and there's always something that we're doing. It never feels like we're wasting time. So that 3-hour runtime, it doesn't actually feel like 3 hours. It honestly passed by really fast. But I will say that some of the Riddler's plan low-key confused me just because it was a lot of info, a lot of exposition, and I have a 2-second attention span. So I would zone out and miss some of the key part of the mystery, and I'd come back and be like, what the fuck? And low-key that kind of messed with my experience, but I was still able to enjoy it. Also, that's sort of on me for being sped and brainwashed by Marvel's super simple and easy to follow plots. But yeah, I really liked the mystery. It was really good. The message. A good villain is someone that can teach the hero a lesson and force them to grow. And at the beginning of this movie, Batman, he's on a warpath and he only cares about vengeance. He's acting out of hatred, and it shows in just how everybody, even the people he's trying to save, are scared of him. But through the course of this movie, he realizes that maybe he shouldn't be dead on the inside. Maybe he shouldn't just be an emo bitch. By learning that he inspired the Riddler and that their messages weren't too far apart, he realizes that he needs to be something greater, which is hope. See, the Riddler actually changes him for the better by acting as a mirror. I just thought that was pretty cool. Also, at the very end of this movie, Batman, he has a choice. Zoe Kravitz, hopefully I said that right, or his goals, his mission, and he chooses the latter. Batman, you are a man of culture, my boy. He realized that motivation is a thought. He chose to stick to his wifey discipline, and I commend him for that. So shout out to my boy Bruce Wayne, because that couldn't have been easy. If I had to choose between YouTube and Zoe, I'm not sure if I would choose YouTube. I can't guarantee that. Unintentional comedy? One thing I want to add is that Riddler was low-key really funny in this movie. Me and my boys were just laughing at this guy. Man was on stream and was like, what's good, YouTube? It's your boy Riddler. I find that shit kind of funny. I'm surprised I didn't see any pogs in the chat while he was streaming. He also just made some weird sounds out of his mouth, and overall, I just found him funny. I found him goofy. Probably not intentional, but it did make my experience better. I will say that. Not enough Batman? One consistent criticism I've heard is the lack of Batman in this movie. And I definitely do think that he takes a bit of a backseat in this movie and gets overshadowed by a lot of the other characters, namely Catwoman and Penguin. It sort of feels like Batman didn't really talk a lot in this movie, but I do think that's partially intentional. You know, with this character, he's nocturnal, he's depressed, he's isolated from the world. So it would make a lot of sense for him not to really talk a lot, to be a bit more quiet, a bit more reserved, a bit less social. I think that this movie had so many jobs with having introduced a new Gotham and a bunch of characters that it was inevitable for some things to be underdeveloped. It just sucks that it was the main character. Hey, don't get me wrong though, I still really love this movie and Robert Pattinson. I think that in the sequels we'll obviously get more of him and get to experience more with them and see more character development, but honestly, nothing can be perfect. Like, you can't just, allow it.
Daddy, chill.
Overall, the Batman is legendary, and it will make your balls drop. This serious tone, coupled with great acting and a good score, really helped to distinguish it from any of the Nolan movies. I'm gonna give this juicy film an 8 out of 10 because I'm impressed. But I do think things are just getting started and that the sequels can get even better. I hope you enjoyed this movie as much as I did because honestly, I just had a fucking blast, bro. Holy shit. And that's really all I want to say in this video. So if you made it this far, use my fucking goat, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.